Appreciate everyone being here. Um, Everyone had time to look at the agenda. Any changes? Comment on the agenda? Everybody fine with it?
Yes.
Okay. Um, Everyone had time to look at our minutes from our previous meeting. Any questions about that or concern? Okay, put that on the consent agenda. Everybody's fine with that. Personnel status, we can go over that, look at that. There's been a couple, as usual, there's been a couple of changes. I think we've got two that's fixing to go to mandate school from the, that's actually been in the jail. They may have already left on this session, but not been any major changes. Any questions on that? Okay. Board appointments, proclamations. Right now, Don, anything? Nothing there.
Free.
Any capital, splash, capital equipment? Not right now. We don't have anything.
I don't know. Well, maybe. I mean, it depends on Jamie's report. I mean.
Well, yeah,
we can take it up when Jamie.
We can go
does.
back to that if we need to. We don't want to let him make any change orders, that's sure, you know. But move down to the approval of ARPA expenditure, Dade County Fire Training Center. Who wants to represent that? Who wants to come up and Ansel or Jerry?
Okay, we're here tonight. You know, we talked to y'all about 2 months ago, I guess, about the property over at the old landfill to build a public safety training center, which would be utilized by the sheriff's department, drug task force, all the fire departments, and then I imagine anybody else that would need it to train in. What we want to do tonight is present you what we found and the pricing we found, and have a short video, and Ansel's going to go over that and explain to you everything that comes with this.
And it'll be a fire hall too, right? Is that what you, it'll be an actual station?
There eventually.
There'll be a engine
Yeah,
station.
there'll be an engine there eventually. It just takes time to, we'll have to build the building, so. But I'll let Ansel start. He's got a presentation, and we'll go from there. If y'all have any questions, just holler at us or stop us.
All right, so like Chief said, this is Public Safety Training Center. Will be used by the Sheriff's Office, the fire departments, Dade County Mountain Rescue, and the DTF. So first we want to explain to you, like our current training center, there's a picture there. It doesn't meet the current NFPA standards for training and associated props as a 2019 edition. The reasons it doesn't meet is like the burn container, you have to have a rated fire brick and required panels inside of it. So the container we got now, we've got block around it, which we've had to redo because the blocks got hot in the sand and it's deteriorated. And also, it doesn't meet the required height set before 1402. You're supposed to have a 3-story structure, which they do that from the ground to the eave of whatever structure you use. It has to be 32 feet. And we're wanting to do a clean facility. We'll get into that in just a second. Because the sheriff's office, they did use our training center a few times, but the more we burned in it, the more black soot and stuff gets on there. So when they go in there just rubbing up against the wall, it makes a mess. And also, you know, the property, it has to be at least 2 acres for us to be on it. So who and how it will benefit Dade County? First off, it'll benefit the citizens of Dade County. It can give the citizens a better insurance rating from the fire departments. And it can also lower the ISO rating citizens get from the fire departments, which could lower their homeowner insurance rate. So the ISO is 1 to 10. 10 basically not being a fire department, and 1 is, you know, is the best. You'll have a lot of manpower, a lot more stations than we got. But so all 7 fire departments on ISO. Every station we have, all 7 departments are eligible to receive credit for ISO through this facility. The facility hours are approved. You have to have, each volunteer has to have 18 hours of approved training. Right now, the departments are ranging from 0 to 3.20 out of 35 points in this section. And not having a certified building, all of our guys to get that 18 hours, they either have to go all the way down to Gypstick to the fire academy, or to our neighboring counties, Walker County, Catoosa County. And that, volunteers, it's hard to do to take off a week to go all the way to be able to get them hours. And we, having a certified building, we could actually host gypstick classes here. They could come up here and host classes because we actually have a certified place to burn, so maybe our guys could get more hours. So Dade County Mountain Rescue, it'll have a tower for rappelling and a place on top. It'll be a small confined space hole where they can rappel down into, like into a cave, getting somebody out, which can also be used by the fire departments. Like if a fireman or somebody's trapped in a basement, there's different techniques we can use to get people out of the basement, so that'll benefit us as well. The sheriff's office, clearing rooms. The building will have movable walls throughout it, so you don't just get, every time you go in, you know what you're going into. The instructors can go in and move the walls, so it's different every time. We didn't put up there also the DTF has showed interest. Casey York, he's our DTF over here, and we was talking to Major Bradford about it, and he said that would be good for them too, just like humans. He said they're canines. If they go to the same place to train all the time, they remember the rooms just like people do, so they can change it up and it could help them also. So what are we asking for is 2 separate buildings. One will be a non-burn container building system, which is a clean facility that we're talking about, and then the open bay system, which will be the burn container. So here's a picture. This will be the clean facility. The tan one is kind of what ours will look like with a few adjustments. Like that top one, we're talking about moving it over above that ventilation to the left. That's a ventilation simulator with a plywood right there. So we can do roof ventilation with a roof and have, it actually got little small holes on each side because that'll have a smoke generator in it, as you see on the right up there, that you can put smoke in. So whenever we're doing roof ventilation, it's got small holes on each side that smoke will start coming out, and it'll show you the wind direction. That way the guys know which side to ventilate from. Alex, if you don't care, that bottom left picture that mouths that tower right there, I put in there because that's the rappelling tower we're looking like. And it will go on top of that third container right there. And that'll give us an extra 10 feet tall to reach our 32 feet, and also give a rappelling tower for the department. This one doesn't have it, but it'll have a platform coming off of the side of it. So what they call like a negative rappel or a free fall rappel. That way when we're going down in caves and stuff, a lot of times right in the center, when we're going down in caves, you don't have a wall to touch as you're rappelling down to rappel down. So, or to get down to pick somebody off, you get them away from the wall to learn the ropes and everything. It has the roof simulator, the reconfigurable maze, like I talked about, the confined space opening. That'll be on top of the very third one up under the rappel tower. Sprinkler system will be on the first floor, so we can go in, and if we don't have a way to shut off water, there's a way to cut them sprinklers off using wedges to put in there to stop water flow. We'll have a 3-story standpipe FDC outside, and each floor will have a hookup where we can go in and practice hooking up hoses, just like our multi-story buildings. Or Covenant College, Westbrow showed very good interest in that because of the college. They could actually train flowing water.
The smoke generator system will be in an type AC ducted into each room. Instead of having to buy 3 or 4 different smoke injectors, we'll have one that's in a central location, and we'll be able to control where we push the smoke into in which area. So that's one thing we really like about that, not having to buy 5 different smoke generators. So.
Yeah, 2 different ones.
This is the other structure, which they call the open bay model. This is going to be burn container that's rated for our ISO and NFPA. It's got the 3/16 of an inch steel insulated insulation inside. That opening where on the top right there, that's just showing you the burn room. That's all closed in. It's got a roof hatch for ventilation. When they knock the fire down, you can operate that from the outside to get the heat out. And the doors and windows, same as that. And at the bottom, that bottom picture to the right, you see the hose. It's actually a safety hose that goes into the structure. So if something happens, we always have to have a backup with guys in. So it already has a hole inside the structure for the backup firemen. Temperature monitoring system. That way we can watch the heat and not let it get hot, because as we always say, a lot of the firemen, they want it hot going in, but if you're teaching new people, you're not teaching them anything when it's super hot. Most of the time we're going in, it is hot, but most of it's smoke, blacked out where you can't see, and that's where most of the training comes in, because you can't see what you're doing. That's the biggest part of training. And as of last year, I think Chief Sharp at Westbrow brought up to the Chiefs Association that every year they wanted all the county firemen to attend a live fire inside the county every year to keep their certification and to stay in the fire department. That way we could work together. Right now we're trying to get ours. We had to tear ours apart, so we're struggling getting that done this year. We're still hoping to, but this will help be able to get that done every year. All right, the fun part, the funding of it. So the 2 RFPs we sent out, got with Don, and we needed to send it out for the RFPs. So one of them, was $413,037. The other one is $514,971. So that's the only 2 proposals we got back. We did send it out for 2 weeks. So the price of the 2 buildings, as we said, we did do our due diligence and call both companies and call this company and see the price difference, because that was a big price difference, but we did not see anything that was in both of them to make up that difference. So that $413,000 includes the building, delivery, setup, and training on the facility, and that's a 2-day training on the facility in the clean burn, the generator, and the smoke room, showing us how they like you to load the pallets, and smoke generator, how to block off different rooms. 2 additions, if possible, we would like to add, talking to this company, is a sound generation system. This company did training facilities for New York and some bigger departments and several others. They started out with New York, and I can't remember the other department that did this sound generation. And it has been a big positive from all of the fire departments. It comes programmed with like 20 different sound effects, like fire, chainsaws, people screaming, babies crying, people calling for help, gunshots for the SO when they're going in there, to give it a more realistic going in the fire. It's just not quiet. So that picture to the right is the electronics. It would go into a closet, because we're going to go ahead and do a closet if we ever did want to make it a Class A or Class B burn room. That room's already there. And then there's the controller, and then the bottom is where they locate the speakers. They put a steel around it, waterproof it, so none of the water or anything doesn't affect it. The only other thing we'd like to possibly add is the set of exterior stairs, the ones on the back that go to the 2nd and 3rd floor. That would help with every year. At the first of the year, we do like a PT course that the state requires to get your certification packet. We try to keep that up. So that would help out going up and down the stairs with a hose pack. Also, it would benefit, the sheriff's office having multiple ways in, like they do on maybe apartments and stuff, clearing rooms, plus more exits for us, and better hose advancement going up and down stairs. There is stairs on the inside, but it'll go up to the 2nd floor, and then you may go all the way across and go up to the 3rd floor. So that would be a lot better hose advancement for our guys. And then for PT, of course, some of our guys like to run stairs, so it's good PT for them also. So with that being said, that would bring the cost to $434,037 if we was able to do that. The steps are galvanized, so we don't have to worry about that. So that would be the difference from where we thought we was going to be, and we talked to both of y'all, would be, that brings us in like $80,000, almost pretty much $81,000 cheaper than we've mentioned y'all whenever we talked, from the highest one, which talking around and just hearing people talk, that's where we thought we'd be. So the RFP's definitely helped us out on this. So some terms and conditions. This is just what they look at, 7 to 10 months, 14 days off-site prep, inspection, visit if desired. So that's just saying if whenever they get it ready before they deliver, if we want to go up and look at it, then we can before they deliver it. The payment terms is 30% on order, 20 on completion. Design of drawing, 30% on shipment, and 20% on completion. This one and the other one both had a 1-year standard warranty. The parts that we will be in charge of, we couldn't get prices on this part, but we plan on doing the majority of this ourselves and the help with Mr. Billy Massengale. Glad he's here tonight. So the foundation and the dirt work and stuff and the footings will be on us. Once we get the design and the approval, they'll send a report on what we're going to have. Instead of a whole concrete pad, we're looking at doing piers. It would be 6 piers for that, 1 on each corner, and then 1 in the center where they meet together. And instead of doing concrete all the way around it, since the county's got equipment, we'd like to do asphalt around it, make it a safer area around. Plus, it's easier setting it up, and then having the asphalt, it'll be easier to wash out from up under the building. Of course,
especially your burn building where after you burn, you have all the ash going through. With it setting up and it being on asphalt, we just take a hose and clean it. That way it's not, doesn't keep building up under there. So you wash it out and clean it.
And then the schedule estimated activity there at the bottom, 8 weeks for the design and drawing, fabrication 18 weeks, assembly 2 weeks, on site 3 weeks, 2 days of training. So you're looking at 30 weeks to 2 days around that time frame for being turn lock key and ready to train in. So where we'd like the money to come from is the ARP. I guess I left out an A, that's my fault. So it comes to, with all 9 departments, and that's counting the 7 fire departments, mountain rescue, the sheriff's office. I mean, it could be 10 if you do separate on the DTF. It just basically comes out to $48,227 per department. We do know the fire departments, they're needing the majority of their SPLOST for other needs. I think, Chief can correct me, probably about 3 or maybe 4 departments is needing trucks. And I guess you can imagine what they are, the way the regular cars just went up. So we feel this would be the best way to help everyone out. And I'm sure the sheriff's office, they're in the same boat with cars and more stuff that they need. So we feel that this would be the best way to help us out. So just like I said, we appreciate this opportunity to present this to you. It's a great benefit to our public safety teams. One of the biggest benefits is being the credit for ISO for all the fire departments. Of course, each department struggles in this area of the grading system. Also, the state of Georgia makes it harder for our volunteers and adds more training requirements each year on us. It seems like, just like everything else, it seems like sometimes they're trying to just kind of weed out the volunteers a little bit, but we're doing our best to keep them up and keep the training here so it doesn't do that. We understand it's a large purchase, but this will benefit us 15, 20 plus years. I mean, it's going to benefit us for a long time because we're definitely going to take care of it. I think when we talked to Ms. Bradford, she talked about, rules and stuff for the facility. That's something that there will be. The Chiefs Association will get with the Sheriff's Office. We've talked about making like a Google Calendar. If you want to go train in it, we know who's there, and if we go the next day and it's messed up or not clean, then we know who's responsible, and there will be rules and set up for this. The only thing where departments just couldn't go in, the rules will be strict, is a live burn container. You have to have a live fire instructor to actually burn in it, and we do have 3 or 4 at our department. I think it's 4, and some of the other departments, I think they're trying to work on getting theirs. I know maybe South Dade, Matt's trying to work on getting his, but that's one thing the state requires. If you just let them go burn in and they come up, they're going to get on us, and then they're coming to y'all. You know, it just goes up the chain. So there will be rules set up. That's what Ms. Bradford was worried about. And just like the big thing is the ISO, that's 35 points of our grade, and most departments are getting 0. The only reason some get any points is because they've got full-time personnel at another department pretty much, and you can count them ISO ratings, half of them towards the volunteer department. So if none of the fire departments had any full-time jobs somewhere, and they were just all volunteer, didn't have a career fire job, pretty much all 7 departments would have 0. So that 35% could basically pretty much bring people down a point, because that's a lot we're missing out on, and that's one of the things we look at our ISO, and the other departments do too, and we try to do what we can. And this is one part that we know we could do better in if we had a facility. Some things we can't help, but this is one thing we'd like to, so.
And then
Yeah.
again, it depends on your departments too, you know, they have to participate.
That's right.
I mean, if this
Goes right back to
bill,
that.
they've got to participate to get these points.
But like,
But we
we
don't
talked,
got an ISO rating, you know, I mean, we have issues in some of the departments right now. It wasn't because of training, but mainly manpower and actually just, you know, I mean, everybody's got issues with that, but,
it's opened up it'll be opened up to everybody. All the trainings always, when we have them now, the majority of the time, we open it up to everybody. So,
I'll go around the table, Mr. Cartline, you got questions there, no?
So, which department will actually be over it?
it'll be the Chiefs Association. It'll be Chiefs Association and the Sheriff's Office. I mean, it's benefiting us all, so we'll get a person from, like, if, I think Haley's the training officer at the Sheriff's Office. If Tommy wants to put her over it. And then DTF, Casey could be over his portion, and we'll have like a committee or group that will sit down and meet and figure out the best thing to do. And Rodney and Chief Kaiser, the coordinators of Chiefs Association, they can sit on it, and just pretty much everybody, and they can pick somebody, whoever's over training to be over it.
What about, as far as it's classified and it's coming under training, correct?
Yes, sir.
So how are y'all coming up with 35 points? Well, this here is the ISO ratings and it's 9 points.
The training facility, if you look, 9 point, what do you got there? Can I see if I can explain it better?
So you got fire departments count for 50% of the total classification of ISOs. Then you drop down here to training and it just shows 9 points.
9 points, it goes by points, but that's 35%. They do it by percentages also.
Yeah, it's hard,
I could look
hard
that
to
up.
figure out how they do it, but they do it by percentages instead of, you know, you don't get just 35 points, you get those 9 points if you meet all that.
You have to have 35 points to get the full 9 points of training.
Right.
Plus everything else. There's several sections in training.
I mean, it's like what did we get?
We got 0.32% out of it, not even a point out of it.
Yeah.
And then what's your expected cost on the paving and the footers? And, I mean, do you got to pour footers under it, a pad under it, or how?
No, that's just like we mentioned we have to wait till it comes back, but it'll just be like 4x4, 6x6 piers, and there'll be 6 of them. Can you pull the picture back up?
They'll sit on those piers, which keeps them up off the ground, you can keep stuff out from under them too.
Then you're gonna asphalt under it.
Yeah, they
Well,
will.
if the.
So like both corners right there, and then the center where them containers meet will be a pier. So it'll be 6, 4x4, 6, whatever they recommend. So it'll be piers instead of a whole pad to hopefully make that cheaper. And we was thinking asphalt because we figured if, you know, we've got the equipment and we could help do most of the work, it'd probably be cheaper than doing a whole concrete pad.
But that wouldn't have to be necessarily,
Yeah, and that cannot be designed and give us until we get a drawing and figure out what we need.
And their engineers will design it and draw it, and they've got certified welders that'll come in and do the welding and stuff. We got a whole package on everything, everybody that's certified that comes in and does the work.
And I've got our packet, Mr. Hartline, and I can show you one day the breakdown where it shows that 35 points, so you understand a little more. But it does show 35 points.
Mr. Lowry, you got any questions on it?
Is it in, do we have that much in ARP funds?
We have about 900 and, I mean, I'm around 980,000 available. But, it's a lot of money. I've asked him about grants, but, that would be a competitive grant. Of course, ARPA is a grant, but ARPA has special rules tied to it that you can use other grants with that, even though it's federal money. But there's no grants
We
that
checked.
we've heard or.
No, and it's harder being volunteer department with few people.
Yeah.
They look at that kind of money of like Atlanta and big career jobs, it's got a lot of
When we
personnel.
were working on our radios and our grants we got before the Alice with, a lot of your big departments, New York, places like that, they get $4 million. And the little departments, you might get 25 or 30,000, but that's just, all the big departments got all the money and the little departments didn't, so that tells you who's, got the pull where they get it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, my only concern was definitely how it would be ran and who would be there to make sure that it's being properly taken care of, and we discussed all that. So, and I would be happy to have the chiefs, definitely over it and looking, making sure.
Yeah, there'll always be somebody there.
Yeah, I mean, and then, I went over to your facility and, it's clear everything looks really good and is in good shape, so, I appreciate it. It looked like you guys are ready to go anytime, so.
And being this night, having a committee, like Mr. Hartline said, we'll have one from each one, and it'll hold them responsible.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan, so, and plus it would include them to want to.
And it gives us a good working relationship.
Yeah.
Just being on a committee like that, them getting together and working together.
It might eventually work into all of you being one,
Yeah,
It's a possibility.
got to start somewhere.
yeah.
Well, the Chiefs Association has been a big step. It's really been working good.
Yeah, and we, Chief, he's the assistant coordinator now. He brought it up 2 months ago and asked if everybody was okay with it, any dislikes or anybody not go for it, because we're presenting it as everybody. It's not just New Salem, Trenton, it's everybody's, and we got good, people asked questions about it, nobody said no, so.
So is there any portion of this money you figuring all of it coming out, are they gonna dedicate some of their SPOS money to it, or what? I mean,
We'd like for the building to be the ARPA,
yeah,
and then if we have to, when we get the drawings back in the foundation, we could see how the departments feel, price, and split that up between our SPOS and get that done.
And we got a lot of people,
We plan on doing most of it
most
ourselves.
of it be done with us.
Yeah, and then the maintenance of it, would that be picked up by just regular splosh or regular?
Well,
Wait,
How
there's
does
really
hopefully, there's not
Yeah.
gonna be a whole lot of maintenance. That's one reason we want the stairwell to be galvanized,
galvanized.
so there's no painting.
Yeah,
They use a high-grade, marine paint on it.
it'd be water and.
Yeah, it needs every floor's got floor
Electric
drains in
and-
it, where it'll go all the way down to the surface. Mostly the maintenance on it will be clean up from training and stuff, the way it's built, because it's all, the walls, the movable doors, it's all metal. So there's really, and that being a clean facility,
It'd be
there's
just
not
like
gonna
being
be.
here, it'd be clean.
Right,
The only one would be different would be, the burn building. It would be,
And then we would wash it out every time after a burn.
yeah, I understand that, okay.
Robert, any comment on it? I mean, and I'm not, we're not gonna, this is kinda early in the game to get everybody to say, yes, tonight we're gonna do this. I mean, because it's a lot of money, and I know we'd like to make a decision tonight, y'all would like for us to, but when they looked at the money too, and the sheriff's all right with taking his money out of this, I mean, his share or his part, like at
We talked-
48,000, he's already fine with that, using it and not putting it in their training facility, that other things that they need over there now. So he's saying that he would fine with putting, I know he's gonna be using it, or they are, but
I mean,
y'all talk to them
we
about
talked
that.
to Major Bradford, and they said it was a big thing. I mean, I don't think he really ever mentioned.
That's on.
He never really mentioned
We want to be
anything
sure
about
everybody's, you
that,
know,
but
I mean,
they were on the
I-
same page of it really benefiting them also.
Yeah.
Um,
And,
Nothing like that was really ever,
and plus, you know, we got a lot of, going on, you know, with the election bill and all, we got it, you know, we don't know how much of this we're gonna be able to use, and that it's gonna know it's gonna help us, and, we just need to really look at it. I mean, it's almost $500,000 time you figure, you know, and it's needed. I'm not saying I'm sure not saying I'm against it, but we need to really look at everything, you know, that we got and where the money is coming from, you know. Robert, go ahead, I'm sorry, I don't know whether I interrupted you or not, but
Now, you did, I think you said that some of the surrounding counties that are having to go to Forsyth would be able to train in this as well?
yes, yeah.
Sheriff's departments and,
Yeah, I'm sure, I'm not sure, I can't speak
I
on
mean,
the
whether they want to or not, I don't
Well,
know.
I can't speak on the sheriff's department. I think they may can do a lot of their stuff in-house. I know they have to go down to Gypstick, but I'm not sure how their facility stuff works out. But I do know fire, without a training facility, like Catoosa and Walker, they've got certified buildings. So they can host a lot of classes and stuff up here, not go down to Gypstick. And we would be able to do the same thing and help out our volunteers, and because a lot of them can't get off for a week or 3 days, and if we can do a class here on the weekend and they actually get a state certification, would help out.
Now, the 18 hours you first talked about, is that once in a lifetime of the career, or is that
Every year.
annual?
Every
They gotta
year.
go 18
Yeah.
hours.
That's specific
It's,
training.
the volunteers are hard to get now, and it's really hard to get a volunteer when you tell him he's gotta be gone for 2 weeks.
And the
And
thing
he's
is,
not getting paid, and you know, so they just can't do it.
in ISO, that's just facility training. There's still like 192 company hour trainings, like 16 hours of officers training. There's more hours on top of that you've got to get to.
any other comment?
Well, one thing I'd like for y'all to think about, and I know we're set on money here on this 2015 splosh, 2015. There's still 64,000 in that, and of course, most of them, some of them very small amounts. One fire department has nearly half of it, and I think they're gonna need that for a car, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But at some point, we need to look at something to clean this money out of here. I mean, 2015, it's setting.
Yeah.
If that
I think
number
ours-
is-
I think ours is,
If that number's current and accurate.
I think we've cleaned ours up.
Yeah.
And we're also in the Chiefs Association, I've mentioned that. It's about every month when we meet, we mention you need to get your splosh straightened out. I mean, I can't,
But I mean, are they willing to put that into this? I mean, is it, you know, it's, I know that, you know, y'all,
just
we're
depends. I don't
city
know
and
what
county, you know, but, is the city gonna have any bite in it too? I mean, are they gonna participate in any of the, or, you know?
That's
as
what we'll
far
have
as
to go
money?
with them for and go after them. I can't.
Yeah, I know you can't speak for that, but I mean, has that been mentioned? I know Alex is the mayor and all,
Yeah.
but
I mean, it's been mentioned a
it's a
little bit.
big deal. This is a big,
Like on some of the other stuff,
Yeah.
that we're looking about doing, maybe them kicking in, but it just depends on how they feel with it being out in the county where it is and spending it, and I'm not sure how that would work out, so that's just something.
yeah, cause you know, city pays county, Robertson City, I mean, you pay county taxes and city taxes, so you all, yeah.
Well, there would just be, you know, enough here when you look at, you take out the one that got the most of it, take that out. Still almost enough for the 2 add-ons you were looking at that has been sitting here again since 2015 in the old splice that Don reports on every month. And it'd just be something for y'all to think about too and talk to the other fire departments. You can get a copy of this if you don't have it, what each one of them has. I know that, I think it was maybe New Salem or Westboro talking about needing a tanker truck or,
Yeah, there's several, New Salem, I think Westboro too, and I think South Dade.
yeah, they won't even bring them off the mountain, they're just stick them.
Yeah. And if it's needed for that, then I understand that, but, you
And
know.
I think that's what they were worried about, if it's the department I'm thinking about.
We appreciate you, you know, I mean, that's a good presentation, and now we know a number, at least we know a real number, and then we can, you know, and I think we can definitely make a decision. We got our September meeting coming up after, and we can get serious about this and say, give you an answer, you know, because you said they'll hold the price till December. December.
I think that's what it said, it was good through,
Yeah,
on the terms and stuff, I think it
December.
said December
Yeah,
31st or 30th.
Any more questions? All right, appreciate y'all. All right. All right. Mr. Jamie Blevins, move down number 7. This is Jamie's, will give us a report on the courthouse properties, historical courthouse.
All right, so this month we had one RFP out for landscaping. We got 3 responses back on that. All 3 responses had their bid bonds, so they're all valid bids. One was from a company called Afix, which I think used to be Mountaintop Landscaping off Signal Mountain. Earthscapes, which is just north of Dade County, right at the state line. They bought Quality Fence's old shop there. And then Udawa Nursery. So Afix was a low bidder. We scoped everybody out. Based on everything we've seen, there's no reason not to award it to Afix being the low bidder. So they were at $68,579, which was about $10,000 lower than the next bid, and an overall $14,000 savings on our budget. So the contingency on the project would increase by the $14,000 if you guys want to go with Afix, which is always good news, right? So from a scheduling standpoint, framing and drywall work is ongoing. We got essentially all the framing done. We've got an electrical rough end meeting in the morning. There's some conflicts on getting some of the rough end in through the crawl space under some of the rooms. There's not really access, so we've got to figure out how to chase some cables back through there to get to the walls.
Solid walls on yeah.
Yeah, so you've got a crawl space through the middle,
Yeah.
and then all the offices kind of come down. So we're looking at options on that, short of cutting access holes in the floor. We're trying to avoid that. So that's the purpose of that meeting. Once we get that sorted out, they'll get that knocked out, and then we'll be able to proceed with hanging the drywall, which will kind of be our next big milestone step to getting the thing buttoned up. So the millwork's been released based on our presentation a couple months ago. They're in the process of getting shop drawings and samples done for review and approval. Like we had discussed, that's the longest lead time and the biggest piece of the project. So it was good to get them going, and we're probably still, I would say, 8 to 10 weeks before we see any of that stuff hit the job. But it is progressing. We have got the ceiling tile samples in for production that we got out of the courtroom. We don't have a date on those yet. And the exterior drain work that's been released, we'll get started on that as soon as a crew becomes available to jump on that. So our plan over the next month will be to get stamped concrete sidewalks. So we had those budgeted for new sidewalks from the stairs by the street to the actual stairs at the courthouse. So we do sidewalks in that area. And then we'll also get bids on repairing that retaining wall where the car hit it, in addition to the section we've got to take out to get the drain line put in. So that's where we're tracking right now. I've attached a updated budget that has the Afix bid included, so you can compare that with the previous month's reports if you want to see how the budget's tracking. So, any questions?
So the outside drain, which coming through the wall, you'll have that completed when, you say? I mean, as far as
It won't take long to do. It's probably a week and a half worth of work once we actually get in there and get started. So I'm hoping by September we've got that wrapped
before
up.
winter.
Yeah,
we get bad weather.
absolutely.
Yes, because everything outside, need to really concentrate on it,
Yeah, because the plan would be to get that wrapped up and then get going on this landscape work in the fall, so that the plants come in dormant and we don't have to worry about watering them until they come back in the spring.
Yeah, okay. Any questions? Okay, appreciate your
All right.
report.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
See you next month.
All right, let's move down to number 8. This is on our 2023 millage rate. Now, this is discussing the public hearings. That's we set the dates and for this consideration or final approval of millage rate. So, Don, you want to go over that, and then
In your packet you have, and this is also online, the proposed millage rate for 2023. And we've looked at, but to fund the budget at the current level that it was proposed at, which was, let me look, 14. Where'd I put- Oh, there it is. $14,500,000. That is what this is proposed at doing. It's that, plus we also, when we budgeted, we did use 200,000 in our fund balance. If you recall, at the bottom of that list, unreserved fund balance. So leaving the millage rate at 8%, or 8 mills, I keep saying percent, but 8 mills, would actually fund the budget 100%. And actually, when you calculate this using the state's forms, the calculation for the incorporated area of Dade County, which is the city, and that's not city millage rate now, just think of it city as far as incorporated land and whatever. So that, and structures, I should say, personal and real property. That actually would drop to 10.219. It's currently 10.554. So that would be a decrease in the millage rate for that area of 0.334. But when you calculate the millage rate, you have to use the state's forms, which if anybody's interested, that's called PT 32.1. And it's the computation of the millage rate rollback and percentage increase in property taxes. Because the county is collecting more than we did the prior year, that is considered a tax increase by the state of Georgia. And so the state looks at that, and what was in the paper is the notice of property tax increase. It says is 8.73% in the unincorporated area, 6.95% in the incorporated area. And that is they take it, they say, what we have to advertise is the rollback rate, and that we're going to increase back to our proposed millage rate of 8 mills. This has happened many years in the past. It's happened specifically this exact way for the last 3 years, where we did maintain 8 mills in the unincorporated area. And for the most part, not everybody, a lot of people went down a little bit last year and a little bit the prior year. They did the reevaluation this year, had a lot of increase, and there was quite a bit of growth in the digest. And again, if you looked on the 5-year history, it's on there, and also the 5-year history that's in the paper. It's also online that we have to advertise. You'll see that it's up, a significant amount. Let me get this one here. About 14 million in the incorporated area. The personal property, that's for real property. Personal property did go down around 5.4 million. And then in the unincorporated area, real property went up. Let's see, it went from 550 to 641 million. And in personal property, it went from 24 million to 30 million. That's a $6.1 million increase. So because of those increases, that's what we call growth in the digest. That would allow the county to collect additional funds, and that's what we have proposed to do in order to fund the budget, the FY24 budget. This is considered the 2023 millage rate. It's a little confusing because we're actually pay for our technically last year's budget with this year's money. It never makes sense to me, but that's the way the state looks at it. But anyway. So the money that's coming in now is really going to be the money that's funding. We fund next year's budget with it, but they classify that as the prior year's budget. But anyway, I could go on for,
I know, but it's
You know,
pretty much, the millage rate, we're not raising the millage rate, we're leaving the millage rate at 8%, which that's, and, we did, and after looking at, I know you've looked at a lot, I've looked at a lot and done a lot of numbers, and the majority of people in the county, their taxes, what you write at the end of the year, your check, is gonna stay the same or go down. You're gonna have people that's added onto their property, built a swimming pool or whatever, they'll have a bigger check to write, but, and that's the way it's been in the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, we've actually, and we've had to advertise that we had a tax increase, because we've had growth. So, and we're still looking at ways to cut with, till the final meeting, as far as the millage rate. We're trying to go to different departments to look if we can actually cut down and maybe go down just a little bit on the millage rate, but it's not gonna change a whole lot, even if it went down, it's, and I'm glad of the growth. I like, it's just what we, I don't wanna get way out of kilter on it, but I mean, we can't control, we don't control that. We can't control the value of property, what an acre's worth, but, so, you got any comments, Philip? I'll go around and,
Yeah, I do. I've come in and talked yesterday and I've looked at the numbers. What I would like to see is we went up 8.73%. That's the tax increase because of the growth. Inflation's running, what, 8%?
that's,
Me personally, I would like to split the difference and I would like to get the millage rate to a 7.75%. And we just need to make the cuts where we need
you
to
mean
make.
7.5%?
7.75 mil.
Okay, not
Meal,
percent.
not percent meal. That's 5% increase, that's us backing off 3%.
Or a quarter of a meal.
Yeah, 3.1%, when inflation goes up and it gets tight at home, you cut back and you spend less, and I think that's what we need to do here. That's just my personal opinion, everybody's maxed out right
I want
now.
to just clarify, you said 8.73%, but that's based off the rollback rate. Is that what you meant?
Yes, rollback rate is at 7.35 to collect what we collected last year.
Because we are not currently at 7.358.
I know that.
Okay, just making sure.
And that's something, we can try, we can do, but we can't just,
I think we need to ask.
we gotta ask, and we can handle our part, but it'll be a county, joint thing, so, then that's what I say, it's not over, it's over, and I don't wanna, and I know what you're saying to me, I don't wanna get everybody's hopes up, we're doing everything we can, now that we see, we're at 8 mills, that we can do to actually bring it on down, and I'm not making any promises, of what's gonna happen, but I agree with you.
And there's not a lot left, if you look at our budget,
No.
when you come down from personnel to the payroll taxes, insurance, building insurance, we can't adjust that unless we shop out and maybe find something cheaper, but after that, there's not a whole lot to try to squeeze it out of. And I understand that, but we just really need to look.
Yeah, and we are, we need to. Mr. Lowry, what you got?
And how many dollars, and you have that in dollars, how much that would
I
actually
do
be cut?
not.
Having what, more, I didn't hear you.
Just wondering if he had the numbers on the actual dollar amount that would be. Because, everything we look at are food for our prisoners, just like everybody else, our
Gasoline,
inmates.
fuel, everything's on that.
Well,
price.
yeah,
It's
that's
going
like
out of sight.
putting this,
And some things we can't control, like when the governor says, okay, you're gonna have 3 elections and you're gonna have to have this many people working the polls. And there was an increase in that cost this year,
Yeah,
our insurance.
and we're the ones paying for it. They don't, he might
Yeah,
order
we
us to
had-
do that, but they don't help us.
No, they don't
No,
help us
no.
pay for all that.
Yeah.
So I agree with Philip, we need to cut where we can, but we need to be plain where that money's coming from, because everybody wants to cut the budget
well,
until it's something that comes out of something that they're enjoying.
yeah, it would be nice to know what that number would be, because then you're looking at,
We're only collecting 522,000 more proposed than we did last year. Last year was 4.43 million, and this is 4.95 million. So it's 522,000, which half of that would be about 260, 250.
And me and Philip, we both report on all the new homes and 911 addresses we got, all of that is growth. I mean, that's more services that we're providing, and I'm certainly not for tax increases, but if we're gonna say that we're got more to cut, I'd just like to be, okay, put it out front. This is who we're looking at, and that's where it's gonna come from.
And you mentioned elections, and this budget does contain next year's elections. So, I mean, through June 30, and we'll have at least one for sure, maybe two, but never if we have a runoff.
But does
There
it-
will be two, for
Does
sure,
it
most
include
likely
the
for sure.
animal shelter and those?
Well, we don't have an animal shelter, so
no.
we're waiting to
But
see,
we're getting-
you know,
we're
but if,
getting there.
it would not, no, it does not.
Yeah, so,
Well, it would not come on. I mean, even if you start, that's not gonna come on to the following year's budget. There's no way that because we got this election thing to worry about right over here right now to get that thing. We'll get that, but as far as getting in that, where we'll actually, man, we'll come under the,
it's gonna, yeah.
yeah. What about, you got any more comment, Ms. Bradford?
Well, I mean, I agree with Lamar. You know, I've been in different departments. I go in those meetings and I look at the numbers, and to me, it would be, you'd be cutting completely a department, and I just don't, you know, I just don't see how that's, I just don't see how that's possible, but,
Well, we can try. We can go to each, I'll talk to sheriff and just see if there's anything that they can actually, let them know where we're at and you know, what he recommends, and we can say, I mean, that's our job to try. But it's gonna be hard, you know, it is. I mean, without cutting services, you know. Mr. Goff, you got any?
Well, I mean, I think it bears looking at. Don can do some numbers of what it, you know, like Lamar's asking, what it would be at 7.75 or 7.80, something, whatever. When we look at, and then Lamar brings up a good point of every month you report on, now every permit is not for a new house, but there's been a lot of new houses go up, and those people are part of that overall growth. And then people who have added on, and some people's taxes went down. I mean, it's really it's skewed by something all the way around. If you have 40 new homes go up, then everything up here on top line and real and personal property goes up. And then, but you'll have some people's through depreciation and through exemptions or whatever that goes down. But no, I think if Don can look at it and see what it will actually do at 7.75, 7.85, something in there, then, but at least we're saying we're leaving it at what it was.
I know, that's a
not
good thing.
An increase.
Because I've been here and you have Don too, and sat here with a blank look on her face with $700,000-800,000 shortage. I mean, we wonder, you know, how in the world, you know, you go back, and so it's but we'll do all we do, you know, we just, you know.
And also, if you decrease the millage rate, and then we have and I want people to start thinking of this, I want them to really listen. When that animal shelter goes online, that's gonna be some expense, because there's more people involved, there's veterinarians and the whole ball of wax. Then you gotta put it back on. It looks great to take off today, but if you have to put that right back on in a year or 2 years, then, well, y'all are killing us. So it's, you know, you gotta look at.
Well, I mean, that's just like the training facility, they just ask for money. It's great that we're gonna get that out of the water to pay for it, but then you got a 20 to 40,000 maintenance to spend on that building, so your budget just went up another $20,000 or $40,000.
Right.
That's the hard part.
Okay. Anything you want to add? What about you, attorney? You got anything to add to this? Okay.
Not on this one.
Y'all for quiet. Okay. All right. So this is posted now. We've already got our dates posted on our website, right?
First and second public hearing will be next Thursday, and then the final third public hearing will be on August the 17th at 5 p.m. And then a special call meeting at 5:30 that evening to
Will
consider.
the school board be ready? You think they'll have
They will be ready the following Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
Will you say that again? I'm so sorry.
I'll give it to you.
Okay.
Okay. All right, let's move down to the number 9. This has been on the agenda for 3 meetings
3
or
or 4
whatever.
months.
Months, you know, and we, I know Mr. Hartline, I talked about it a couple times and all, but, then Robin was in there this morning. And, you know, y'all, I'll just go around and get some opinions. I know my opinion right now, you know, there's too much unknown right now to really, you know, but Mr. Hartline, I'll start with you and we'll just come around.
My question is, if none of the 5 commissioners sponsors this resolution, I would just prefer to have it removed from the agenda altogether.
Okay. Mr. Lowry, your opinion on?
I went and spoke with Robin about this, and my concern is us following the Constitution of the state of Georgia and separation of church and state, which is a good thing. Our forefathers were religious leaders, and they put that in there so we would all have our own personal freedoms with religion. And if we're gonna do this, we need to be sure that we're following the letter of the law. I mean, my question to Robin was, how are we working with Memorial, for instance?
You mean Memorial
Yeah,
Hospital?
Memorial
If they
Hospital,
came to us for,
they're a religious organization. But they signed agreements and to how that money could be used. So I just think we need to be careful that we don't do something that we took an oath that we would not do. And those are just my concerns is, if we're gonna do it, we need to be sure that we're doing it to the letter of the law.
Ms. Bradford, your opinion
Well, I
on?
agree with Lamar on that. It looks like that we are, from the information that we got from the lawyer at ACCG. Is that correct?
Yes, so I've had, she and I have not spoken personally, but we have sent emails.
Okay.
And she, had indicated to me that the purpose of the agreement was an appropriate purpose, meaning that, you know, the treatment, is part of the remediation, aspect that the, thing requires. And so that was her concern. She did not go to the, underlying facts of the agreement itself, but she thought the purpose of the agreement was appropriate.
Okay. Well, with that, my only, I guess, negative about it, would be that it would be like a certain amount. And it wouldn't be over a certain amount. And it would be maybe some, like, we've been talking about this for months, and nobody has come forward. Another group like this has never come forward, so far that I'm aware of.
That's why we gotta be careful, because we're gonna set a precedence when we do this, you know. And, you know, like you said, we need an amount, but once we do this, you know, that'll be setting a precedent. So we will have, I'm sure, I know 2 possibly that's gonna come.
We did get one letter from some.
We got an email, yeah, they're beginning to come in. You know, it's a Ford County, it's not somebody here, but it's somebody that does Dade, Walker, Catoosa, and.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a little different though, but.
It's different, but it's the same, she's doing something, if they meet that criteria. That's our problem, is finding out for sure. We're dealing with we're talking about one place every month.
Yeah.
And trying to find out whether or not it's a separation of church and state because they are built up of religious leaders. But I'm gonna tell you, we talked about it, but, you know, earlier, I'm gonna be leaving here. This is gonna go on for the next 15 years. This is some of these big pharma companies have not even agreed to pay it yet. And they're saying, we're gonna pay 1.6 billion, but it's gonna be over 13 years. This money's gonna come in, and I don't want us to look at it, first of all, like it's tax money that we're taking from anybody, because it's not. It's money we didn't ask for. It's money that's probably good that it's there because the big farmers deceived and doctors prescribed till they got people hooked on this stuff, and now we're having to pay for it. But it's gonna go on for my lifetime at the rate it's going. And we can't do this every time somebody comes. If we're gonna, we can say no, but they're gonna keep coming, and we can't, we just can't, we've gotta look at it like, we need to start doing this, just like I said the 2015 SPLOST. You're sitting on money that's been there now for 8 years, since the time it was taken in over that period of time. AARP, I'm glad to see that we're looking for ways to get it, because it don't need to sit there forever. It needs to be a benefit. And if this can benefit somebody, then that's what we need to look at. But we can't look at it like this is the only thing we're ever gonna do, because we do need to look at an amount, and that would be a portion of what come in.
Right.
And we did get more, I think you said a little bit more this week, because it's coming in 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 at a time. It may come in 100,000 at a time next time. We don't know. And we're only getting little bits of it, as Jerry Kaiser said about the fire departments, the big ones. Cities like Philadelphia got hundreds of millions of dollars. And, but they've got hundreds, thousands of more people than we've got. But we've got to start looking at what we're gonna do with it, and we can't do this every time we have something come up.
Well, and we can't spend the time every month talking about the same thing.
what I
The
mean.
money that is given to us to give out to, so it needs to be either some type of a little grant that's wrote for these types of people, or, a certain little amount, or even, that we give it, they tell us who needs it, and they give it directly to the person.
Well, I agree 100% with Philip. First of all, on this issue we're dealing with, whether or not it's church and state, we have not had a definitive answer. But we need to word it some way that this comes off of our agenda, because as long as we keep tabling it, it's got to be here next month.
I know, that's why.
Well, what we can do is just go ahead and agree or disagree to just pull it off the agenda until further notice, until we call it a game plan or an agenda, whatever, of bylaws or guidelines that we can go by, and then put it on there, and we'll have something to agree on or disagree on. Right now, we're just spinning our wheels.
What, at this point, could you say what would be that criteria?
So as far as the church and state issue, or in general?
I think just tabling this for a week.
Yeah, so we could table it. And let me also say that one thing that Michelle Martin, I think, had mentioned, I think to all of us, is that the governor is putting together a board, which is supposed to report back in November about the uses of this money. So
Their recommendations.
yeah, the recommendations about that. Because the underlying, the court orders are vague at best. I mean, so everyone's kind of left in the dark right now. And so that would not be if we can assume that they will get us report in November like they're supposed to, that would not be a bad
Time frame.
bad thing to do.
Yeah, okay.
All right, everybody in agreement?
I just want to make one more statement. When we look at the church and state thing, at least faith-based organizations are doing things, whereas a lot of other, we're not. We don't have a place for these people to go. But if it can be done, we need to look at it that way too, that faith-based, whether it's Hand Up or some of the churches, they're doing it. And if it's just not in complete conflict with the Constitution of the United States and what it was worded for, then we need to start looking at places to use this money to help people, because it's helping nobody sitting in the bank.
No, it's not.
Okay.
So are we discussing tabling this resolution, or what are we discussing doing?
No, we're discussing removing it from this agenda until we
Removing it
have
completely.
something, until the governor.
Yeah, it won't
and
be
his
back on
board-
next month.
It will not be back next, it'll be, and then when we have some guidance, we don't have to go by his guidance, but if we have some opinion from the state, the highest, the governors, and we can look at it and we can add or take away, and then we'll come up with something here to lay on the table and say, look, this is what it is. It's money, and we'll have something to go by, and.
Yeah, because
So we'll just-
that was another concern is
Yeah.
we gave this money out and later they come back and say, oh, you can't use it for that.
That's what we don't.
And we don't, yeah, then we're gonna have to try to dig that money up.
No, if they do that, I'll tell them it's Lamar's idea.
Yeah.
And that's just- Yeah,
That guy right there.
yeah, that's right. But,
I blame Robert, because he's.
so, everybody okay with that? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not, okay, we'll just put that on, what we put it on consent agenda, whatever you want to do. I won't word it, but I mean, well, that's, we're all in agreement that to go ahead and take this off till further notice. Okay, let's move down to number 10. This is ordinance 0803-23. This is an amendment to the hotel motel accommodations excise tax passed July the 5th of 2018. Don, I'll let you go in.
The ordinance was proposed last month, which is ordinance number 08-03-23, an amendment to the hotel motel accommodations excise tax passed back in July 5th, 2018, and basically what that's doing, this is the second reading and would be the final reading tonight if approved, but it allows for us to collect it in our office. We've been collecting it in our office day one, but tax commissioners listed as collecting it. Robin had written that in the original ordinance because the tax commissioner does have special powers granted under the state of Georgia, I guess basically for FIFAs and different things.
That's right.
But
Collecting tax.
I don't even know that we'd ever go to that extent anyway for hotel motel. Anyway, the bottom line is, we're doing the collection and the paperwork in our office. So we're trying to clean that ordinance up to just match that.
Okay.
I
Any
want
questions?
to add to that. And this was, because I've had some questions, this only came about 2 years ago, 2.5.
2018.
18.
Yeah, so, and we did not know which way it was gonna go or how it was gonna be collected, correct?
Right, well, it was a lot of unknowns about it at the
Right.
time, because we really never had done it before. And then there was a new tax commissioner elected, and it's not that Jane didn't want to do it, it's just
Yeah, it just the way
most
it
count,
worked
we
out.
found out later that most counties, in fact, I'd say 90+% of counties, maybe all, I don't know, collect from their office. It's an excise tax, and typically, tax commissioners don't collect excise taxes. They go straight to the the governing authority of the county, which is the Board of Commissioners. And so that's the same thing here.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I've had some questions, so.
Any questions, Lamar or Mr. Hartline, about it? I mean,
No, because we
It's the
just
second reading.
started collecting that tax in 2018, right?
We didn't
'Cause
collect
we
it.
didn't,
It was really
Later,
really much later, like 21. before
21,
we-
22.
Because see, as a result of 2020 COVID,
Airbnbs.
really were kind of before, but after that, they just
well,
exploded.
it
They
came,
changed
it
the
became
law.
a state law.
It came a
And
state
it
law
became-
later.
A state
Right.
law,
House-
and then after it became a state law, it kind of hit us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not hit us, but counties.
They sent it to the county.
Yes.
Yep. Airbnb, VRBO, Travelocity, there's a whole list of them.
okay.
They remit it directly through the state law, remit it directly, collect it, and then that agency, Airbnb or whoever, just sends it directly to the county.
Any comment, Mr. Goff, or anyone? I'll put that on consent agenda then. Okay. Anybody else, anything else they want to say, or
I
before we
just got a
adjourn the work
statement
session?
I need to make, if it's okay.
Oh, go ahead, yeah.
When we were talking last month about the transfer station, the recycle, I made the statement that Billy Massengill had failed to give me the proper numbers that was costing or saving or whatever, however you want to put it. But Billy asked me about a week after that, he said, "Don't you remember us sitting over?" We was over at my little farm, we was sitting on a little bucket, and we were talking about it, and Billy did tell me that, what the cost was. I don't know how I don't remember it, but as soon as you told me that, I did remember it. So I want to personally apologize to you in this open meeting for that.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you taking my apology.
All right. We all have those senior moments, I'll tell you, man. But, anyway, anybody else got any comments or anything? Okay. We'll go ahead and adjourn the work session for about 5 minutes. Everybody get, go to the restroom, get some water, and we'll go ahead and start our meeting here in just about 5 minutes.
I see your mouth.
prayer and also pledge of allegiance. If everyone would stand, please.
Let's pray. Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight, Lord, and to carry on the business of this county. And we just pray that you would help us, Lord, with clear hearts and minds, do the very best that we can. We know that, Lord, we're people and we can't always be pleased, but we can always come together in love. And we thank you, Lord, for the community that we have. And when there is a need, how people come together is just such a great place to live and to live our lives. And we pray, Lord, as our schools begin back tomorrow, we pray for the teachers, we pray for all the students. We just pray that you would help them adjust again to another year. And Lord, as we get through this budget process and everything that we're doing in other counties all around us, going through the same thing, we just pray, Lord, that you would help us do the very best that we possibly can for the people of Dade County. And Father, we pray for those who are sick. We thank you for Lamar, especially being able to be here tonight. And Lord, just continue to bless him and Kathy. And Lord, we pray that you would bless our police departments, our sheriff's offices, Lord, the people that protect us every day, and our men and women in uniform, especially those on foreign soil tonight. Keep them and bring them home safely to their families and bring them home whole. And we give you the praise in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Robert. This is a regular scheduled meeting of the Dade County Board of Commissioners, which takes place at the same time on the first Thursday of each month. Proper notice this meeting was given to our legal origin, the Dade County Sentinel, has been posted in the hallway. This time I do need a roll call. Mr. Lowry? Here. Mr. Hartline? Present. Mr. Goff? Here. Mrs. Bradford?
Here.
And the chair is present. We do have a quorum. Anyone will come up and talk to us tonight? We got anything on your mind? Come up and, George, you don't count.
Oh, well.
But go ahead.
Just as
Does that mean nobody has to listen or what?
Yeah. Tell everybody who you are, George. And
I'm George Williams from the Alliance for Dade, and just wanted to tell everybody about our Plum Nelly Art Show coming up a week from this Saturday. We're pretty excited about it. It's our second one. We had 21 artists last year participate. This year we have 46.
Man.
And we're taking over the high school common area and the cafeteria. It'll be completely filled with artists. It's free to the public, and it's Saturday, August 12th from 10 a.m. until 4:30. So come and support our artists.
Now, that's where did you say? It's in the Commons area?
It's in the
of high school?
common, and then right behind it into the cafeteria.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so we're
Okay.
staying off the gym floor.
Okay.
Apparently, they've just refinished it, and
Yeah.
and Brent asked if we could stay off of it,
Okay.
so we figured out a way to do it. Thank you for your
Good
time.
deal. All right, thank you, George. All right. Anyone else? Okay, if not, we'll move on. Mr. Lowry, you want to go ahead and give us your committee report, please?
Okay, for our 911 activity report, we had 225 total EMS calls, had 308 fire department calls. Police was at 2,891, for a total calls for the month of July for 3,424.
Okay.
And we had 15 E911 addresses added this month for a total of 73 so far this year. Now, I have been having some pretty serious health issues. I had to have a liver biopsy done. Thank God it came back clean. Gotta have the pancreas done next Friday. So I appreciate everybody's prayers and Thanksgivings and prayer words.
Thank you, Lamar. And you are in our prayers. Mr. Hartline?
For the month, we've had 23 electrical inspections. And then at the sports complex, we've got 4 baseball teams playing in a fall league in Jasper, 8, 11, 12, and a 13U teams. Soccer starting up and football starting up. They put a couple of loads of safety coat on some of the fields, getting ready for some of this fall practice that's going on. And then it's not related to the sports complex. Just remember, we have a lot of the utility workers out working, especially on Sand Mountain now. They've made their way up to there on 301, going out putting poles and power lines up. A lot of times their trucks sitting in the road. They've been at the top of the mountain for about 2 weeks now, right as you start off. Got one lane blocked, so pay attention to them and try to slow down when you get in their work area. And then tomorrow school starts back, so remember that.
Yeah.
Because I'm the world's worst that I don't.
I know it's easy, yeah. Also, I meant to tell you this, and Alex tell you this is something you in your district, and I know you kept up with this, and it's important, they've been up there actually, Alex, you can tell us more about it from the back there, but working on our storm shelter out there. I mean, it's getting to be, it's a reality. It's, of course, it's already built, but they're putting the finishing touches on it. And how close are you, Alex? I know y'all spent a lot of time out there, and it's real important, these people out there to.
Concrete porches, working with Snoop to get that, we gotta form one more.
Yeah. You got water, power, water, everything's on out there now, so.
They finished it up yesterday.
And you got fiber, high-speed internet going in there. We'll have a screen hung before long, like we got in South Dade, a big, nice TV where you can keep up with the weather when people goes in there, so it's good,
And if you don't know where it's at, it is the road beside Davis School. Go back up towards the Saddle Club, and it is on the left.
Yeah. Mr. Goff?
Up on my old football field almost.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought every month I report on Splosh, and Splosh was actually up over last month, and last month was a great month, but it was up about around $600 more. But one thing I don't usually mention is lost, which is the other penny, the same penny. But I think we're talking about the millage rate and taxes, it warrants talking about. Now, it's $244,181. And sometimes people will say, well, how come it's different if a penny's a penny? Well, the guy sitting back yonder, his city gets 20% of that penny. So that's the reason it's always less. But that, as it keeps staying up and going up, it helps us on our taxes. Don can do a better job of explaining that. But the lost affects is the property tax, just like some other things that are paid into the county throughout the year, like insurance premium tax and that kind of thing. So we always say, buy at home. I know fuel's back up. It's up everywhere. I drove through Chattanooga yesterday. It went from $3.19 to $3.59 just overnight, just about. I don't know why. We don't control it. We never do. But the cost of living's high, but people are shopping. When you shop at home, even if you're buying your gas and it's 2 cents cheaper a little further down the road in another county or another state or whatever, remember, you're giving them all your money and you're taking away from ours. So we thank people for shopping at home and all these people that come through and stop at our restaurants and stop at our grocery stores, and the linemen that are here for 3 months at a time that do all their spending. So that's the reason, we can't always know exactly what brings it up, but it helps with a lot of things. Philip mentioned school starts tomorrow, and I don't have to tell anybody that starts the great traffic jams of Trenton, Georgia will begin. It's really not funny if you have to sit in it. I understand that, and it's bad enough now with just what goes on the interstate and so much. But tomorrow starts the school as well as the Trenton traffic jams. Tomorrow night at the high school will be the Meet the Wolverines. As Lamar said when he came in, it's already August. It's hard to believe. Football will start in earnest next week at Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe with we're all a community, and that's the reason I report on what goes on over there. They will play their first game scrimmage game next week against Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe, and then begin the regular season the following week all the way in Athens, Georgia. So if you want to take a good road trip, that'd be a good one to take. But time's flying by us, and we just have to try to keep up with it as best we can. But that's all I got, sir.
All right, Ms. Bradford.
Okay, I've got quite a bit. So I wanted to start with that I was over at the recycling center today talking to people and also was looking at the animal shelter land, which is looking good. So I know there's a lot of negative about what it's going to take to run it, but there's also the positive part of it that it is something that we need, and it's another service that we're going to be able to provide hopefully soon. So on with the road department, Ted usually goes over everything pretty good, but there's 307 work orders. Kind of a bigger one that was in my area was the Creek Road clearing of that bridge. There was a big tree under there. Sign replacements. All over. Usually it's a rain day job, and we've had a lot of rain days. Mowing, of course, and then the bridges all have been looked at, and some signs being remade, which I'm sure Ted's going to go over quite a bit. But to get into recycling, I wanted to kind of go over this. I probably won't do this every month, but this is kind of an estimate over the past 6, 7, maybe 8 months that we're trying to really nail down and just get a good look at. So cardboard, we do about 2 loads a month, which is an average of 8 tons. Plastics, which I want to put in there, we only take number ones, which is water bottles, soda bottles, cooking oil containers. Also, please clean them, make sure that they're ready to go, number ones only. And we do about 1 load a month, which is an average of 3 tons. Then we got number 2's plastics. So it's only number 1 and number 2. Milk jugs, shampoo bottles, and we do an average of 1 load per month, and that averages out to be about 3 tons. We talked to Top Rock, is that correct? Top Rock, the recycling center.
Oh, yeah.
Top
yeah.
Rock. I just wanted to make sure I had their name right.
Yeah. I thought you meant who we were buying our
And she said, we're not being charged right now. A lot of counties are being charged, and they're not charging us because we are cleaning the all the goods that are coming in, and there's a lot that has to be thrown away. I went over today and somebody threw in an old bottle of oil, and from the top to the bottom, all that had to go into the garbage, which is really heartbreaking because somebody cleaned all those other things, and we just don't have the manpower to go through and clean it all over again with oil on it. So I can't stress, make sure it's clean, make sure that you're putting in the right numbers. The lady said that one of the reasons why we're not getting charged is because our product that we're giving out, taking to them, is clean and it's a good product. If there was a problem, we would probably be getting charged like everybody else. So definitely please make sure that
When you say charge, you talking about like penalized? I mean, is that what?
Yeah, when we're getting money back, it's more of like a rebate on any, like right now we're getting rebates on cardboard, plastic, 1 and 2, and which I was about to say, the cans have gone up. We've negotiated and have got them up. So please save your cans and bring them in. It could offset some of our other items that we're not getting anything for mixed paper, which is your magazines, mail, computer paper, newspaper. And that is usually one load per month. And then our metal and white appliances are one load every 3 months on average, which averages out to 4 to 6 tons a load. And then our poundage of loads of garbage that's going over the scales, we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, and it was an average of around 40 to 45. This okay, that's the total right here. So yeah, July, we're still about in that range, 39. So it averages out anywhere, usually around 40 to 45 a month that's going across the scales. And that's hopefully all.
Okay. Good report. That was a lot.
Forget.
Yeah. Well, it also, we explained to them about the compactor, you know, when we've got that expected to come in as far as their
that's what I
plastic.
needed.
And
Yeah.
how we're gonna actually oscillate between one and the other to make this work till we get, you know.
Yeah, that's definitely needs to be said. So one of the bundlers is down. So what's happening is we're trying to save over here, bundle this amount, but you have to have so much before you could put it in there for it to be a bale. So we're trying to save this and then and it's a guessing game because you might have more plastic than you have cardboard one day, but you need to get the cardboard out, but then there's not enough. So we ordered a baler. It should get here around October. So it's even more important to make sure that your cardboard and all your plastics and your cans are clean because we're down a baler and it's a lot of work sorting through all that when it's not clean or the right number. And they won't take it if you put in a bundle and there's other numbers in there and they see it because they go through it and they look at everything, they won't take it. It goes into the garbage. So it's very important, be clean, look at the numbers, the signs are out there, and just bear with us for a while on the way it looks over there because it's going to get piled up.
Yep. Okay, good report. There's a lot of stuff going on in the county, and we had the rain set us back on some of our projects, and since this dry weather's been here, Ms. Bradford said we did go down, we finished knocking out the pad for our animal shelter, and that is just the dirt pad that's ready to, when we do get ready to pour concrete and get it's ready to go. It's compacted, and we hope to move next week if nothing don't happen, weather-wise and all, and get on this, our elections, the dirt work and all on it, and we will stay on that until we get it. We've got to get that thing up and about. So that was one thing. We're trying to finish this road we've talked about. We've been working on it off and on through the rain. I think another couple of days, maybe 3, they'll be finished with this emergency road up here for Belk Road. The rain changed everything. We thought we would be finished in paving by now, but it hadn't happened. So that right there, when we finish that, they're gonna move back down to Clark Street here, try to get those people opened up. They was blocked in the other night, several hours, and that won't take near the time that was. It's a short span, but we'll have those 5, 6, 7 families there also where when it's blocked, when the train's blocked, they can get out there, and we can get into them with a fire truck and an ambulance. So that will tie Clark Street there into Vanguard right there at the railroad track. Both these roads will strictly be emergency roads. They'll only be used when the train is blocking. That because it is 100% on railroad property on the right of way, and they will have control of that. And of course, they've worked with us. They didn't have to give us the permission and all, and to work with us on it. But it's an answer to prayer for all those people, because unless you lived over there you don't know how scary it is to actually go through one of the loved ones or whatever, getting hurt or cut or whatever, or cardiac arrest, and you can't get an ambulance in. Or when your school bus pulls up and lets your children, your grandchildren off, they can't get home and that train's there. And here you got people handing them under the train, and that's gonna stop, with this. So thank goodness for that. A lot of things happening up on 299 right now. As far as it's been, the foliage has been let go for a long time. A lot of the trees have gone over that road. If you travel that road, you know what I'm talking about. If you're behind a tractor trailer, like when the interstate's closed in, they're constantly hitting the trees. So it's gonna take them about 2 weeks. They started Monday evening, and they've got the main bush axe there. So they're gonna take all the way through the Tennessee line, clean all that up, and de-limb everything. And then from there, they're going on down south on 11. We've got some issues down there. They started down there the other day, had week before last, and did a couple of areas that were just totally blind. They're going there, and then we've got some issues out on Sand Mountain on some of the entrance coming in. So they're going to be here for a while doing that. So kind of be careful, keep an eye on that, because that is dangerous, running that machine, or being behind it anyway. Let's see, I told you about Belt Road elections, administrative. We did get started Monday. This is something that's been talked about now for a year, almost a year, on our depot down here. It actually, was someone an arson had set it on fire. It's been almost a year ago. We did have insurance on it, and we've been kind of waiting. When materials shot sky high, we couldn't. It's hard to get anybody even to bid on it. Because of it's not like building a house or even building on anything. We've got we decided we're going to handle this in house. We got some different people. Our electricians and all. But we did get started on that Monday, and those pictures. Oh yeah, they're on there. You can see they did a lot of work between Monday and today, and we're replacing all the main structure upstairs that was actually completely charred. A lot of it, I've got some really good pictures of some of the lumber that they had to cut out. It was deceiving, because some of those timbers, they're 4x12s and all, and they're only just barely charred enough that from the bottom it looked like it was really terrible, but we're going to be able to salvage a lot of that. Even the metal that they pulled off so far, and really all of it, really, we're going to be able to go back with 99% of that metal. They're real taking it easy, taking it off. Now we'll have to replace all the underneath and all that with OSB and all, but it's really going to be we get it back before too long, and it's going to come under way what we thought. We'll be able to fix it with our insurance money, and that'd be great. Let's see here now. We've got the. I got a call, actually an email, and I actually got a call from these people too, about an hour before the meeting, and it concerns the south end of the county, which where we live, but where Rogers had sold his place where he lived for many years, was a very historic place. It's where Judge W.W. Hale had been there for years, and he was known throughout the country as a marrying judge. He married way over 500 couples, more than that, but there was that many documented. And so the lady that bought it, Liz Simmons, she had been working on getting it on the National Registry, National Historic Registry, which is it's a hard thing. It's a lot you've got to go through, but she was notified just a little while, about noon today, that it has qualified for that, and it will happen. So that's something. It's really, and it's they went back and did a lot of investigation as to the truth of actually of W.W. Hale, and he was actually, he was real. Everything's been told about him was real, and I mentioned this, and I'll be quiet, but thinking about that, I do remember my grandfather, and I can remember, Mr. Hale, when he ran for election, he was defeated, and he was actually a JP, Justice of Peace, back years ago. Dade County, a lot of counties, you had a Justice of Peace in each end of your county, and they handled, a lot of different legal matters, and they could marry people. And he was the one in the south end, and so he specialized in marrying people. And so when he was defeated, he could not. He'd been marrying people for like 30 years, and he couldn't accept that. He couldn't. It had been a part of his life, so he kept marrying people. and a fellow by the name of Alvin Whitey defeated him, and Alvin Whitey was our sworn-in justice of peace, and so he was down the road from him, and he also married people, but he was going, you know. So finally, after, I think they estimated there was probably at least 50 couples that were married by Mr. Hale, Judge Hale, out there somewhere. They probably already passed on, but that weren't married really. They thought they were, but they really, and they had to come up from Atlanta, you know, and the sheriff would go down and explain to him he's in violation of the law to stop that, you know, to stop him from marrying. So, you know, that's pretty interesting, you know, that to know that actually happened here in Dade County. But anyway, there's a lot going on. We got Burkhalter Gap. We've had a lot of issues with tractor trailers going up there from their GPS following them, and just for some reason in the last month or so, we've got some pretty distinguishing signs that we're going to, a couple of them or 3 going up before you get there to try to turn these people around. I don't know what the deal is on it, but we've had a couple issues that they made it all the way into the city of Lookout Mountain. And so, you know, I wouldn't, you know, but anyway, that's something. But other than that, you know, we're getting ready to finish these projects, get into our paving, and go on before we know it. As someone said, you know, it'll be wintertime, you know, be October. So, y'all got anything else you want to mention?
I got another
Okay.
thing, sorry. Also, there's been some confusion, because we've changed over from the businesses, making a choice to take their recycling to either recycling center or up at the top. And a lot of them have chose to just take it up and dump it because there's also other garbage in there. So I've had a lot of calls about, garbage being put into the trash, but it's usually either it's dirty or it's that situation where it's those companies dropping a lot of cardboard or you know, looks like recycling stuff up at the top. So I just wanted to clarify that that is happening. I mean, but it's their choice. They're paying for it, which, you know.
Okay, we'll move on. We'll call Miss Mindy Hayworth. Is she here tonight with the library? Okay, that's good. That's unusual for her.
Yeah.
Because that lady likes to talk. Now, let me tell you something. And she really, they do a lot at the library. It's pretty interesting to listen to them. And how about Laura Beth Cunningham? Is there someone here by that name? Come up. Yeah.
Well, we had a busy month this last month. We finished up our summer programs. We did a hike to Little River Canyon. I try to do a lot of hikes. I have it in me to be in the outdoors, and it kills me when kids are sitting in front of the TV and playing video games. So I try to drag as many kids as I can out, and usually if you tell them there's a waterfall, they're more likely to go. So we had some friends join us and drive up from Carroll County. A lot of these kids went to summer camp together and became friends, so we've started doing more with them. But we hiked to the bottom. It was quite a hike. I struggled a little, I'll admit to that one. But they had a really good time playing in the falls. And then the next week, we just went to Shirley Miller, which is a really easy hike, so we got little kids to go, so that way they can still participate in stuff too. And then we picked a really hot day to go to the Chickamauga battlefield. We hiked around there, and then we had a ranger guide us through the park, so they got to really in-depth learn a lot of what all those monuments actually mean. And then we had a picnic in Point Park, and then there's museums up there too. So they learned about all the big Chickamauga battle. We had our second Chick to Chicken camp. We had, I think, 6 new kids that I had never met before come to this camp, so I was really excited about that. But I had told them at the first chicken camp that if they all came back, I would hatch babies for them. So I had eggs in the incubator, and babies were just hatching all day, so they really enjoyed that. Then we went to the Coker Museum. That was our last field trip, and I mean, it's a little hidden gem up there. I mean, I know everybody knows Corky, but he's got quite the collection. I was really impressed, and I've been to a lot of car museums and car shows because my husband is a car buff. but I really enjoyed going to.
He's a talker too, you know, it was, score,
Yes.
yeah.
But we had a small crowd go to this. A lot of people canceled because there was some big dance competition that some of my regulars had to go to. But it was a really interesting. I recommend everybody go up there and look at what they've got. Our homeschoolers meeting, I've been doing something, I call it the Scrambled States of Agriculture. So I've been picking a different state every month for a while, and I teach them everything about that state's agriculture. So we did Wisconsin this last month and talked about the cheese industry, and then I did my best to make them some mozzarella cheese for us to eat. Some liked it, some didn't. But it was interesting to make cheese in front of them. The next month we're going to do the citrus of Florida. So we made these awesome little sock worms at a craft night, and that was a lot of fun. And then I almost always do it in August, but next month we're going to do the paintings with the water guns. I mean, that really brings them out. They think that's a blast. Our livestock team did start back up this last month. We have, the Hughes girls are showing goats. I think there's 3 of them now that are old enough. And then the 2 little, Colin McKegg's little girls, they're showing goats this year for the first time. But the McKeggs are also really into pigs, and they've really started traveling with those pigs. I think they went to Louisville a couple of weeks ago, and they actually did really well. So I'm glad that we're having more species. Hopefully we can get cattle back into the mix, because that was always my favorite. We started forestry judging tonight. We had our first practice. We've doubled our team, so I'm happy about that. We had 4 last year, and now we're going to have 8. So we started that, and then we'll go to competition on September 5th. The Tri-State Cattlemen's meeting will be in Dade this year. They're going to talk about the ins and outs of stocker cattle, which is probably going to be a really good one if you're interested in that, because if you do it right, you can actually make money doing stockers. Where
When is that? Is it?
That is going to be August 15th,
Okay, this
Tuesday
month.
night. Yeah. So if you're interested in that, that would be a good one to come to. If you want the meal, just RSVP by the Friday before. The Beekeepers Association meeting will be August 21st. That's a Monday at 7. They're going to have a new president, so we don't know what their program is yet, but everybody's welcome to come to that. And that's all I got.
I see a lot more bees out, like bee boxes out.
Yes, I have too. So they're going to do the census soon, like Georgia puts on this huge statewide census. So I'm interested to see. I think there's going to be a good increase in bees this year.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that'd be cool though. You'll have to give us an update.
yeah, I will as soon as the census numbers comes out.
Good report. Any questions for Lori? Okay. Thank you. Appreciate you.
And I gotta take off, I'm sorry, but we're taking Miss Sarah Moore down to Atlanta to the Optimus conference.
I'm surprised she's not driving herself.
Well, that's why we're taking her.
I'm telling you, she just goes. I mean, that's amazing.
I don't want her to drive that far.
Man. All right, we'll move down to our financial report. Mr. Don Townsend, if you would go over that, please.
All right, as of the July 31st, 2023, the general fund had a balance of $402,365. Certificate of deposits on hand was 1.5 million, so that's a total of 1.9 million, 2,365. Federal Asset Fund, U.S. Treasury had a balance of 0. Sheriff Special Fund, a balance of $4,322. Drug Abuse Education Fund, $7,229. Supplemental Juvenile Services Fund, $28,831. Victim Assistance Fund, $760. Jail Fund, $8,584. Federal Asset Fund, Department of Justice, 0. American Rescue Plan, the ARPA fund, has a balance of $1,387,955. Accommodations, hotel tax, $319,150. Employees Flexible Spending Account, $20,888. And payroll account, $74,241. The 2015 project account has a balance of $97,152, and the projects account for 2021 SPOS is $69,218, and the proceeds account has a balance of $2,305,310. The next report is the first glance at how we ended June 30th. And so I'm going to spend a little more time on this than I normally would. You'll see that there's a lot of red on this report, which means we need to do some budget amendments. And there's a lot of seasonality that was built into these budgets, which come to fruition here on the last day of the year. This is a report, the income statement as of June 30th, 2023. The actual report for June was $507,776. Now this is revenues. We had budgeted $1,140,650, so that's a shortage, $632,874. The number to look at, though, to really tune in here to is the year to date, and that's $13,219,045. And we had budgeted $13,315,000. So that's after the current, that 13,315 is actually after the budget amendments that we were aware of. We'll have another budget amendment for this budget. Typically it's September, October, and it's right around when the auditors get here, which they are scheduled to come in October. But that is a shortage right now on revenues of $95,954. Now you see that the percentage attained is at 99.28%. So right now we are short $95,954. There are, I don't have the number in front of me, but there are some accounts receivable still scheduled to come in, which would, of course, bring that up to 100%. And then we would be even, but I don't think we will make it to 100% this year. Some years we exceed 100%, but it doesn't appear like we're going to this year. And also comparing budgets, I know that we look, I think Philip asked me this earlier this week about that. The 13, I'm not sure what number we talked about that day, but the last year's budget, I mean the current year's budget, FY24, is 14,500, but the actual year-to-date budget as we stand now at FY23, knowing that we're going to have another budget amendment, but right now it's 13,315. So that is a difference, an increase from FY23 to FY24 of 1,185,000. And just to clarify that from earlier in the week. Also, under expenses, we'll take a look at that. We have for the month of June, $1,055,556. We budgeted $1,042,731. Again, short or over budget, $12,824. But again, looking at year to date is the most important number there. It's $13,545,148. We had budgeted $13,565, and that's a shortage of $19,851. I'm sorry, under budget, $19,851. So you had asked how much did we have at the end of the year? Right now, it's right at 20,000. I know we do have a few more bills. Most bills have come in the month of July for the most part for accounts payable, but there will be, we have by law to leave the books open until September 1st. And I mean, for instance, one came in today. I don't think it was much, but so we'll be, that one will be close. Hopefully we will be right under budget, but regardless, we'll have to do a budget amendment. Comparing if you take if you see that bottom, we don't talk a lot about that, but the yellow, it says the general fund cash projection, but just looking at that, comparing that from the revenue side to the expense side, for just looking at the bottom line, because that's really what matters, is the year to date. So taking, what we actually collected was $13,219,045. And subtracting out what we spent, $13,545,148. That is over $326,103. Budget-wise, it's a difference of $250,000. And that, when that happens, that's your fund balance. That's where we would have to take that. Now, if that were to be the case, and I'm not saying it is yet, because again, we've got some more accounts receivable and some more expense to come in. But once those settle, if that were to be the case, then $250,000 would hit our fund balance. And the same is true that we've already balanced this year for $200,000. So that's a $450,000 hit in a 2-year period. And that's the first time that will have happened since 2011, I think, 2012, 11, 12, somewhere in there, which is not what you want to see, because you can get yourself in a hole pretty quick on that situation. And you're thinking, well, what caused some of that? Well, the differences between last year's budget, FY23, and the proposed budget this year, and then I'm talking about that 1.185 million, is the expenses in employee. We had $463,000 in a cost of living allowance. There was $235,900 in expenses in just plain general supplies. And that was basically and simply, they just went up in price. Roads was the leader on that at $204,000. I mean, the products we buy, cold mix, hot mix, whatever, it's just more expensive. $204,000 more. Ambulance was $18,700, and jail was $13,200. So that made up the $235,900 in general supplies. Also, landfill fees did increase, as we were told they would increase, because the CPI went up, and that was up $177,000. Health insurance did increase 6%, it's $105,000. Contracted services also went up, that's $39,000 in administration, $28,600 in E911, and $14,000 in emergency management. Now, when you talk about contracted services, you know, some of those things, there might be an offset to the revenue, so sometimes you get money on both sides, but I only can see the expense side right now. Gasoline, due to an increase in gas prices, went up $52,600. Supplements did increase last year. The fire departments, of course, we know we raised those this year up $21,000 overall. And then the district attorney, as we talked about, they're very short on district attorneys and assistant district attorneys, that is, and we increased their supplement by $18,000. So that was a total of $39,000 for those two things combined. And then elections increased $38,800, and then a $24,000 increase to inmate medical. They just had $24,000 more in expense last year. Actually, they actually had $64,000 increase in there, but we're only budgeting $24,000 increase in FY24. So hopefully no one will get in a fight or whatever causes incidents over there, or has a heart attack. You have a heart attack in jail, taxpayers pay for it. I mean, you know, I don't know if everybody realizes that, or y'all realize that, but that happens, unfortunately. So anyway, that's a little more in depth, but that is our June 30th. We will refine that by, let's see, the September meeting, and hopefully we'll have our final numbers in for the year. And then so next month you'll have really 2 reports, one for August and one for June. We'll go back and one for July, and then we'll go back and pick up June again just to compare it. Local option sales tax this month that came in was $244,181. Special purpose local option sales tax was $313,617. And you have the 2015 and the 2021 tracking worksheets there that you may review. But as noted earlier, we do have a surplus I mean, it's not a surplus, it's the balance due of $64,407 to the fire departments. Overall, though, based off, remember that first number I reported earlier, there is $97,152 left in the 2015 SPOS. Now, granted, if they can or cannot use, I mean, I get that one department there was trying to save their money, one or two departments maybe trying to save their money to put that money plus their SPOS money for 2021 together in order to buy pumper trucks. But if there's a portion there that could be used, as Commissioner Goff pointed out, and it's upwards, the maximum amount would be $97,152, which is the balance of that account. That's just something for you to remember and consider in the future for that fire tower training center. And then looking at the tax commissioner's report, this is for the entire year. We had budgeted $5,495,500. Revenues for year to date have come in at $5,470,77.95. So the variance there is currently at $25,422. And again, that's 99.54%. So you see, I mean, some of those monies, tax commissioner's department's a little bit different. When the monies don't come in the current fiscal calendar year, they will get put into the next year. But what happens there is it would past due taxes that would have, most likely have interest and penalties tied to them. So some of those monies come with, we anticipate certain amount or a certain percentage, and for it to be within 1% is well within the variance, and that's an excellent accountability in the tax commissioner's office. That concludes the report.
Okay. Any questions? Corrections? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve our monthly financial report. To have a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, Mr. Hartline. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Call vote. Mr. Lowry?
Yes.
Mr. Hartline?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Bradford?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion carries. Robin, if you got anything for us tonight, anything that need to go over? Okay. Okay, I want to finish business, do business. Okay. The reading of the minutes of the last month's regular meeting, any special call meeting will not be required since all commissioners have been furnished copies in advance. The minutes for public record is available for view in their county commission office. The minutes are included in the consent agenda. At this time, Mr. Townsend, would you go over our consent agenda, and we'll entertain a motion pertaining to that.
The approval of the agenda as presented. We have the approval of the previous meeting minutes, review, approval of the personal stash report, the approval of the historic courthouse restoration project as presented by Mr. James Levins of PCM, and the announcement of the military first and second public hearing, August the 10th. First will be at 11 a.m., second will be at 6 p.m., and then the third and final public hearing for that will be August the 17th at 5 p.m., and then a special call meeting to be held to consider the adoption of the 2023 millage rate will be held at 5:30. I don't yet have the school's information, so I can't talk about that. And then ordinance number 08-03-23, amendment to the motel accommodation excise tax as presented.
Okay. Any questions, corrections? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to pass pertaining to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, got a second. Motion second. Call vote. Mr. Lowry?
Yes.
Mr. Hartline?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Mrs. Bradford?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, okay. No executive session tonight. Y'all got anything you want to add before we adjourn tonight? Okay. Appreciate everyone being here. As Philip mentioned, there's a lot of stuff going on in this county, a mountain or the mountains in the valley, between the power company, working and all the work that's gonna be going on for the next year or so. And a lot of utility stuff besides that, and plus our mowers. So, just, kind of be careful. And, remember, also, this is the weekend of the world's longest yard sale, and it's, mainly on Lookout, coming down the, Lookout Mountain Parkway. But, be careful out there and, try to be patient with people, because I know out there today, there was a lot of people stopping and going, and so, just be careful out there. And, we do appreciate it. If y'all are fine with it, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
I have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, call a vote. Mr. Lowry.
Yes.
Hartline.
Yes.
Mr. Gall.
Yes.
Mr. Bradford.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Thank you.